For a lot of people, it can be really hard to balance out a weight loss goal with eating carbohydrates because of the massive insulin spike they get from those foods. So if that's you, today I'm sharing 5 tips on how you can eat some of those more starchy foods without getting a massive insulin spike. My name's Autumn. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's nutrition human performance, and today's video is sponsored by LMNT. More on them in a bit. Now, these tips can apply to a lot of people, considering about 100 million Americans have some type of insulin resistance. But if you are unsure and if you want an idea of how carb sensitive you might be, I do have a free quiz that you can check out. I will have that linked down in the description below if you want to check that out and take that quiz. Okay, the first tip to help make sure you don't get a huge spike in insulin after eating starchier foods is to time it after a harder workout. After we do some type of exercise, especially if it's like a harder strength training workout or if it's an endurance training exercise, we tend to be more insulin sensitive for about 2 to 24 or maybe even 48 hours later. Exercise really helps to bring down the blood sugar level because it acts like a sugar sponge. It helps to absorb that excess glucose from the blood supply and bring it straight into the muscles so that the insulin doesn't have to go up as high to help bring those blood sugar levels down. In fact, this is such a big deal that even when I was in nutrition and dietetics school for my undergrad degree, we learned that those who are on insulin therapy often needed to bring down their insulin dose for the same type of food after they've exercised. So if you are going to have something a little bit more starchy like sweet potatoes and you are more carb sensitive, then you want to make sure you aim to have those after you've done a particularly heavy workout. So I like to recommend doing it after a very hard leg workout or very hard HIIT workout, or if you're doing sprint intervals, those are going to be more ideal to time those starchier carbohydrates after. Okay, the second tool is to eat your protein first before you have your starches. There have been various studies that show when you eat your proteins and also if you eat your veggies as well before having some type of starchier carbohydrate, it really helps to lower that blood sugar response and therefore helps to make it so you don't need as much insulin to bring it down. Now, if you are very carb sensitive, then you'll probably want to focus on eating the vast majority of your protein first before you add in any starchier carbohydrates. However, if you're maybe slightly carb sensitive or not very carb sensitive, but just working for a weight loss goal, then even just having about a third or a half of your protein first before you start to dive into the starch component can be a helpful strategy. Now, if you are actively trying to reduce your starches to achieve a weight loss goal, it's fairly common to lose a lot of electrolytes and a lot of water during that process because the insulin level is coming down. This can result in things like headaches, low energy, muscle fatigue, or even constipation. So it's really crucial when lowering carbohydrate intake or while using intermittent fasting to make sure that you're balancing out your electrolyte levels, like with today's sponsor, LMNT. LMNT is an amazing electrolyte company that I've been using for over 2 years now. They have the sodium, the magnesium, the potassium to help replace those lost electrolytes when eating a lower carbohydrate diet or while intermittent fasting. Plus, they don't have any sugar or any like weird color additives, making it a better option for a weight loss goal. I usually have about 1 to 2 LMNT per day, depending on how active I am that day. If I'm having 2 LMNT in the day, I'll have an unflavored LMNT in the morning, either before or after my morning workout. And then especially if it's really hot out or if I had a really hard workout and I can just feel those symptoms of an electrolyte imbalance, especially if I'm feeling really low in energy, I'll have a second LMNT later in the day, and this is when I'll have one of their flavored options like their mango chili, their lemon habanero, or their orange salt. And I love that LMNT comes in so many different flavors, so I can just switch it up depending on what I'm feeling like that day. Like lately I've been loving the lemon habanero, but yesterday I just really wanted to switch it up and had raspberry instead. And right now LMNT is offering my viewers a free sample pack with any order. That's 8 single serve packets free with any LMNT order. It's a really great way to test out all 8 flavors, so you can get yours at drinklmnt.com/autumn. This is only available through my link, so make sure to check out drinklmnt.com/autumn. I'll also have the link down description below. Okay, the third tool is to go on a walk about 10 or 15 minutes after having some starches. This has a similar effect on the blood sugar and therefore insulin levels as if you were to exercise with a really hard workout earlier in the day, but it just does it more so after the fact. So walking helps to stimulate your muscles to absorb that excess glucose, which means that your insulin doesn't have to raise as much. So ideally about a 15 to 30 minute walk would be best to help absorb that excess blood sugar. Okay, the fourth tool is to use either apple cider vinegar or lemon juice with or before your meal. So using apple cider vinegar or lemon juice basically helps you lower the pH or make your meal more acidic, which might not sound like a good thing, but it actually helps to slow the digestion of the starches. And multiple studies have found that using either the vinegar or the lemon juice helps to make that blood sugar spike not as high. So you can have something like the ACV sipper from my complete intermittent fasting bundle. You could have lemon in your your water, or you could even use apple cider vinegar like as a dressing. Same thing with the lemon juice to add flavor to your meal while also still getting those same benefits. Okay, the fifth tool is to not have those starchier foods on days that you get bad sleep. On days that we get really bad sleep, our insulin resistance is a lot higher, which means the body's going to be a lot more responsive and have to pump out a lot more insulin in response to those higher starchy foods. So even though on those days you're probably going to be craving more of those simple carbohydrates like sugars or starches, it's actually not the best time to be having it. So on the days after you got a night of bad sleep, it's really important to make sure you stick to more of those non-starchy veggies instead of incorporating these starches on those days. Now make sure you check out the 15 foods that I personally never buy as a nutritionist with this video next. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love this science-backed information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.